they had to go in and scrape it all out and then sew things back together.
Please keep that in. That is the most interesting thing I've ever heard in my entire life. In my entire life.
Unless something changes work-wise or, but we'll be based out of Nashville.
How about that?
Yeah.
Great place to raise a baby girl.
Yeah. And our street is full of kids, her age. They're like, everybody had a baby around the same time. So it's great. She'll be able to grow up with kids and that'll be nice.
That is the best.
Yeah.
We raised our kids with a group of families at elementary school that had kids the exact same age. 2 kids the exact same age as our 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fun.
I can't wait to do things because she's been just a baby.
Yeah, she's 1 now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, what can we do? She doesn't really like play with other kids yet, but now she's starting to. So I'm looking forward to having those like bonding moments with other parents where we can like talk about we're going through some of the same things, which I have to find them, you know, like I have a one friend that I'm really connected with. Her daughter's 1 month older than my daughter in Nashville. And then I have a friend here, but her daughter's about 6 months older than Rosie. So we're kind of like watching and learning like, okay, tantrum phase is going to start soon. And we have entered.
You've entered?
The tantrum phase.
Yeah.
Like, and it's wild because you can't really do much. She doesn't know why she's doing this and she doesn't have words to say.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's the words.
Yeah.
Right. It's that they don't know. They can't tell you what's going on. So all they can do is behave.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard. I remember when my kids were in that phase, I had one kid that Georgia barely tantrumed. Isla was a willful child. Yeah. And I remember figuring out at some point, oh, she's like this because she can't tell me what's going on. So I have to start saying, are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you hungry? Are you tired? And that once I would hit on the right thing, it would, the realization, she understood the language, but couldn't create the language yet. There was this one little window where I was like, it became so helpful to just go, oh, I just need to give her the words. And then she can tell me, she just can't say the words.
Yeah, that's what they say about like sign language and teaching them like more and all done. And so those are pretty much the only ones she knows. But now we're doing help. So when she needs help with something, like put me over here or help me get that off the counter. You know what I mean? So we're trying to learn that one. But my daughter is a very strong-willed. And my sister had a son who never had tantrums. He had one tantrum in his whole existence. And we got it on video. Like she filmed it because it was like, oh, wow, look at this. He had one tantrum. And he was like, he could say words. He was mad that she turned the TV off of his channel. And she was like, are you mad your TV's locked? And he goes, your TV's locked. and like, so he was old enough to talk and she's already starting and she's 13 months.
Well, both her parents are artists, so that's not a big mystery if you ask me why that's probably happening. Is she probably sees the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And reacts to it emotionally.
Yeah.
Which is what artists typically do, right?
I'm trying to learn her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And give grace.
Give grace. That's right.
For everything. For her, for me, for learning. This is our first time. And I think about how judgmental I was when I didn't have kids, of like a kid throwing a tantrum and be like, ooh, somebody needs a spanking. Just spank that kid. And then now I'm like, oh no, I get it. Like we can't just solve everything with spanks, Dad. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so true, right? Everything becomes like crystal clear in, and not everything, but certain things become really crystal clear where you go, oh, that's why. You have so much more compassion for a crying baby on a plane.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Oh my God.
And the poor child doesn't want to be crying like that.
Oh, yeah.
But you look at it so surface until you're in it. And then you go, oh, this is a whole big ball of wax. And this poor parent who's worried about all of us.
Yeah.
While the kid's screaming.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do.
I know.
It's the worst feeling.
I know. And it's like, I'm trying to, this is what I'm talking about right now in my new material is learning this new like mama bear side of me. And it's interesting to see like how quick my fuse is in honor of my child, you know, and being on a plane and people who don't care for babies on a plane. Like, I'm like, let's go, you know, like, what do you want? You know? And even this morning I went to the park and we're crossing over the road to not even the road, like it's a parking lot, you know, and there's cars on this side and on that side. And so I'm walking across where cars drive through to get to my car on this side. And we're just crossing over and this car honks like we weren't walking fast enough. And
you have a baby.
And we have the stroller. And I'm like, what the heck? Now, granted, he was a senior citizen. And I'm like, oh, he's just a, you know, crockety old man, whatever. But then at the same time, I started thinking about all my other instances that I was like getting ready to fight. They all been with senior citizens.
No.
Why are seniors triggering me?
I don't know. And why do they have no patience with babies?
That's what I'm saying. Back up, Grandma. Jeez.
Whatever. That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I deep dove you last year a little bit. I've been watching on Instagram for the whole year, obviously. But have so many things I want to talk to you about. And I left my stupid notepad on my
go
desk.
Get your notebook. Get it.
No,
Danielle's right here. She can go run and get it.
No. You've had quite a year, not just being a mom, but being out loud with some of the stuff that you've gone through as a mom that hasn't been positive. And I think that is fucking fantastic.
Thank you.
I think that is so important. I know when I had a baby, that first baby, I had all kind of pregnancy stuff. Nothing was life-threatening or crazy. And I think that's why no one knows about it, because it wasn't life-threatening or crazy. But I sat every one of my friends down and went, here's the deal. Here's hemorrhoids and here's what you do.
Yeah.
Here's heartburn and here's what you do.
Yeah.
Here's anemia and here's what you do. Here's morning sick and here's what you do. And here's what happened after. And this is how this sucks.
Yeah.
So just, hey, we all can keep saying the wonderful things.
Yeah.
We know those already.
Yeah.
But you can't go into war just thinking, I look good in this outfit. You got to know how to use the outfit and you got to prepare yourself for what's coming. So I felt like that just wasn't available in the way it is now. And it's so important for people like you to go, hey, I wrote it down, the thing with the milk, where the milk would come and you'd get this dip. What's it called?
It's no, I forgot what it was called now. Something milk ejaculation dysphoria, something. I forget what it's called. Danielle's on it. But it's basically when your letdown happens in your milk. Something triggers emotionally in your mind and your thoughts, and there's to various degrees. For me, I would get extreme anxiety and thoughts of just dread, just somebody's going to die. This is not good. I need to cancel every appointment that I have. Every I'm going to a party. No, cancel any party. It's not till next week. We got to cancel everything. Like it would be like one of those like, no, I can't do anything. I'm sad. Somebody's going to die. Something is not right. And then it goes away. And you go, oh, that's weird. And then I started noticing that it was every time I would be pumping and my breathing would change.
No way.
So I would put on my little pumping bra and I'd put my little sheens on. And then as soon as I started, it was like, and I was like, oh, wow.
You're in panic attacks.
What is going on? And I started looking it up, started asking different doulas and different women who work with pregnant women and postpartum. And that's where I learned about this. And I was like, that's exactly what's happening. And then I started talking about it and I started hearing from more women that would have it more seriously. They would have suicidal thoughts. One of my good friends, she had to stop breastfeeding because for her it was every time she breastfed. For me, it was every time I pumped. Sometimes when I breastfed, I would feel it too. And I'd be like, okay, just shake it off. And now I'd literally have to shake my head, shake my body, be like, no. And for her, she had to stop breastfeeding. She had to talk to her doctor about it. And they came up with a plan on how to slowly like wean her from breastfeeding because she was having suicidal thoughts every time she breastfed.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's
Called
crazy.
dysphoric milk ejection reflex.
Thank you.
Dysphoric milk ejection reflex.
Yes.
Wow. Never.
What do they call it in Charlie's Angel? Charlie?
Yeah,
Is he
it's
Charlie?
Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
That's my Charlie box.
I was like, wait, is it Charlie? Hold on. That's so cute.
I love my Charlie
I love
box.
that.
That's so crazy.
Hello? What?
Hi, Charlie.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they did? And that super sexy
So what was it called
voice.
again? Milk.
Dysphoric milk ejection reflex.
Dysphoric milk ejection reflex. DMER. That's what it was.
DMER.
I was like, I know there's like a short thing you say DMER. Yeah.
It's got to be
Awful.
like a hormonal. I wonder
It
what
has to be.
it's got to be hormonal, right? Because I would imagine, I'm no doctor, but I would imagine your hormones are what tell your body to lactate,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would
There's
think.
some sort of thing that happens here. It goes all the way down.
Yep.
Boom. Milk. I don't know.
It's insane. And so you talked about that. You had was it just on YouTube or was it a podcast where you?
It was just on YouTube and my social media, and I would post. It was called Postpartum Confessions. And
Oh, really?
oh my gosh,
A little bit I have to be in.
he can't. He
we're
can't.
talking
Angela.
about breast milk. Come join.
Oh, it's so sweet.
So sweet. Not the taste of it.
Oh, have you never tasted it?
Yes, my own.
Oh, I've tasted other people's.
Oh.
Just LeeAnn's.
I was gonna say, hopefully,
people.
just mine.
Just LeeAnn. Is
gonna
this on? I'm
say-
sorry I bum rushed this podcast.
I
I just
like
can't. I can't not be on here.
I love this right now.
I,
Tell me about the time you tasted LeeAnn's breast milk, or was it a regular thing? Some for Isla, some for you.
No,
Like,
no.
boom, boom.
One for you, two for me.
Yeah.
2 for you, 4 for me.
There
Like that.
was when I didn't understand. I'm going to try to make this adjacent to. I'm sure where you guys are going. I didn't understand how vulnerable
Okay.
having a baby was.
Uh-huh.
Like all the things that happens to a woman's body, and I was just very bro. I was 32 at the time.
I was also very
Yes.
bro before this. Like I didn't know all the things that came, but continue.
No, and so I didn't realize how insecure she was about her front bottoms.
Mm.
You know?
Front bottom.
My vagina.
Yeah, there you go. There you
You
go.
can say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not going to share everything, but she was just very insecure about it.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to have sex.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I remember saying wild, crazy stuff. Like, oh, now I understand why
People
men-
cheat.
Yeah, people
No, I
cheat.
understand why people cheat.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, dude, I look like, I don't know, a shark's mouth for
Uh-huh.
five, 10 minutes.
I wrote that line.
Okay,
In my
sorry.
material- hold on,
I was
that's my
trying to
joke.
come up with something
I wrote,
else.
I wrote,
joke.
hang on, in my special.
Did you say shark's
Yeah,
mouth?
it
I was
said- it
trying
looks
to
like a
not say
fucking
what you
shark's
said.
mouth.
Okay, sorry.
She had an
Bert Kreischer
episiotomy.
said, no, I had an episiotomy and things didn't feel the same
Yeah.
to me. It didn't feel the same
Yeah.
and it hurt
Yep.
and it was just complete. I mean, I pushed a baby out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like, it's insane. I would say to him all the time, if your dick exploded
Uh-huh.
and then we just stitched it back together, would you be like, let's put that thing where it needs to be?
I'm going to jump
No,
again.
you
I
would
think
not.
that was my
Jumping
joke
again.
That was once again my joke that I wrote in that same.
No, I said that to you.
So I stole it from you.
Uh-huh.
I said
The
the
truth
you
comes
myself.
out.
Exploded
If-
like
Did
a-
you add
like
her
a
name
crisp
written by
cigar.
on your last special? I'm going to need you to add her name written by.
I've never written any of my specials.
Yes, you have.
My daughters and my wife, but LeeAnn would call me back in the day and go, I got a great Isla story. And I would immediately be like, that's why I'm so jealous about where you are right now. Is like, it's such a fun moment as a artist to have this new person show up in your life
Yeah.
and get all these cool fucking stories
And new
Yeah.
experiences.
and new experiences.
You know, and for you and Manny too, because
Yeah.
you've been married for you've been together for a while.
Yeah.
And then this baby comes in and
Yep.
changes your dynamic with each other. And then you're like a team.
Yeah. We were married for 12 years before we decided we wanted to have a child. But even to think of like from the artist's perspective and from writing, it was so funny because as I was coming to the end of my pregnancy, it started to hit me my last tour dates before I went on maternity leave. And I was like, this is insane because I've only written material as this version of me that I know. Single Anjelah, then she's dating, and then married Anjelah. And I've always been, for my entirety of my career, which was like 16, 17 years, I've always written from this place because this is who I know. I know this version of me. I've only been this version of me. And after I have this baby, it's a whole different version of me that I'm going to be writing from. Like, this is, I really had like an emotional, like, saying goodbye to my previous self as a comedian.
Wow.
That I had been writing as for 17 years.
Wow.
That's very powerful.
Yes, it is. And say hello to the new person you're writing for, because as relatable as you were as a human being before, you've entered a club.
Yeah.
You're a brand new member of this club, a parent club, and you're going to have even more relatable things to talk about.
What's even cooler about that is I've been to your shows. I know the people that come to your shows, and there are so much more connective tissue with what you're going through right now than even like, even what you've talked about in the past. There's so much more connective tissue that's going to really open your mind to like it. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I've said this out loud a number of times. I'm jealous of Tommy and Joe and Bill, who've all just now had kids, and Joe's kids are a little older, but because I go, I'd love to be there. I would love to be there. I said this the other day to someone. I was like, when I had kids, I wasn't that good of a comic. I mean, I was a good comic, but I wasn't that good of a comic. And I was just doing what I thought was okay. And now we're going through the empty nest stuff, and I'm trying to write about that, about what I was saying to Chad Daniels. And I was saying like, the stuff I feel right now, once again, I wish I was a better comic to express how I feel.
Yeah.
But what's amazing is you've been doing this for 17 years, and now you're experiencing these things as a mom that are going to be so fucking powerful to talk about on stage. When you talk about breast milk, my experience with breast milk was so limited in like a bro mentality of like, and once again, I'm just saying what I remember. But if we had sex and if LeeAnn got turned on, her tits would start to leak.
So sexy.
Yeah.
It really feels so good on this end.
Did you ever have
running down your, it's so gross.
Clogged ducts or something, and you'd be like, Bert, I need some assistance?
No, I never did that. He was never home. I would have to clear it myself, or I'd have to like massage it and like almost milk yourself. It's the worst. He started touring when Georgia was 3 days old.
Wow.
So
it was David Tell.
3 days old, I was.
You had to.
It was home. Opening for David Tell, Louis C.K., and Daniel Tosh for the first 3 weeks of George's life. And then I thought that would be it. And I went on to tour every single weekend for $700 for the first, I honestly, up until now, is my first real break I've taken of not being on the road. It's a little
20
scary.
Years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Wow, you deserve it.
I got to be honest with you, and if nothing, I'm super honest. But working with Louis C.K. the second week of George's life spoke to me on how to represent having a family, because I knew he loved his kids. I knew he was a good dad, and I knew he was a good guy. I love Louis, and the way he talked about his kids, I remember going on stage. He was like, "My daughter's a." And I remember going like, whoa. I mean, you got to remember, this is like 2002, 2004.
Wow.
And he was like, wouldn't you call anyone who won't tie their shoes? and I just remember going like, well, this is a way to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. I don't know if you remember because your career is, I was just telling those guys, such a fucking Elon Musk skyrocket of a career. It was such an amazing career to watch. We all watched it from afar. We all watched it on MySpace. I think it was where we all saw you just explode and selling out Ontario and fucking Brea and Irvine like the way Fluffy did. Fluffy was the only person like you that would sell those tickets. But being a dad comic was not cool. Having kids was not cool. And I was terrified that I was a loser when I had kids.
Aww.
And then I watched Louis talk about his kids, and it informed the way I think almost, if not parroting, the way I would talk about my family. So I was like, that's real. I'd worked with a guy who was just such a shit and such a liar. and I watched someone be disingenuous about their family, and it was like a branding thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, that seems gross.
Yeah.
Like, don't brand it, be
Yeah.
real. And Louis doing that, it changed the way. And especially someone like you to go through this experience. I'm so excited for your next hour.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm excited writing it, and also it's very encouraging. And every time I talk to you and you tell that story about the Ryman, like you were telling the guys, and it means so much to me. And then it also inspires me, because then I look at you and where you're at and everything you're doing and how inspiring you are to me. And I'll watch you on social media and your podcast and everything. And then you have this, your festival, you have this and all these things. And I think back to the story. I was like, he came to my show and told God, like, just give me an opportunity like this.
I'll even deep dive it. I'll deep dive it.
Let's go.
It's my favorite moment I've ever had. I'm being serious. I was with Nate Bargatze and Ari Shaffir. Nate was drinking back in the day. And we sat in the rafters at the Ryman, and Nate said to me, do you think she's going to do the nail salon story? And I said, I hope so. And he said, yeah. And he goes, I don't know. I mean, she sold at the Ryman. She need to do it. And I was like, well, I hope she does it. And I said to God that day, God, give me one bit. Now, the machine story had not gone viral. I said, give me one bit that is as successful as that nail salon bit, and I'll tell it for the rest of my life. And I sat waiting for you to tell it. I wanted you to tell it, and you told it. And I watched you tell it, and you murdered with that, because I watched you tell it at a place in your career where you really fucking worked that story, and the crowd went nuts. And every time I tell the machine, and LeeAnn one time said to me, if you don't want to tell it, don't tell it. But if you're going to tell it, you got to love it. And I thought back to watching you at the Ryman. We were in San Francisco when you told me that. And I said, oh yeah, I asked God for this. I asked God to give me this. And I'm so grateful for that story. But more importantly, I'm so grateful for watching you tell that story on your show, because I thought, are you telling me they're golden handcuffs? Because if they are, I'm cool. Are you telling me that maybe one day on social media, someone's going to say, so you're just the guy that tells the one story? Sure. Totally fucking cool with that. Yeah. I'm very cool with that, because I prayed to God asking for that.
Yeah.
I did.
Wow.
And I remember that. And what's crazy is we all know people that have a great bit and they walk away from it. They do. And which I think is, you do whatever you want to do.
Sure.
But I've used your name, smoking weed with Chris Porter in a bathroom in Omaha. And Chris Porter said we were talking about you. We were smoking weed in his bathroom at the hotel in Omaha. And I said, dude, I watched her at the Ryman, and she told it. And he goes, oh, for real? I fucking love that bit. And I went, exactly, Chris. I said, if you love something, don't you kind of want to hear it again? He goes, absolutely. I said, buddy, we're not famous. Me and him are getting high in a bathroom.
Omaha.
I said, why wouldn't we tell the story that people like? Why wouldn't we tell it again? He was like, you're right. And that next night, Chris Porter went up and he was like, I got high with my buddy in the bathroom last night, and he told me I should tell a story. I have a story about Pizza Hut, and the place went fucking bananas. And he looked at me in the corner and was like, oh shit. But you got to understand, when you talk about, and I'm so sorry that
I think this is great. I love it.
When you talk about being prolific in comedy, there's a lot of ways to do it. Listen, I will say this. I hope you appreciate this. Me and you are not Dave Chappelle. We may not be Bill Burr. We're not going to be Rogan. We're just two really funny people that got a really great opportunity to do stand-up, and we love what we do. And we have a great team around us.
And you work your ass off.
And we work our fucking asses off.
That's right.
And if you're telling me that our path is, one time, I told a story that was fucking awesome, and you're going to allow me. I mean, you did an hour and 15 minutes at the Ryman that night. I watched it. And you did 2 shows. And you said, I remember thinking, if you're going to let me say I can talk for an hour straight of my new stuff, and you're going to be there for it, but you came to see something that I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. That's my stairway to heaven. I'll give it to you. It informed the way I've followed my career so much. I have no shame of telling that story every time. I just said to those guys we met downstairs, we were talking about you, and I said, and their publicist said, oh, she's got a crazy nail salon story. It's so fucking good. I'll show it to you in the car. And they were like, really? And it's like, yeah, that's what you want. It's like, listen, Fluffy is Fluffy. I call him Fluffy. I call him Fluffy. I don't call him Gabe. I call him Fluffy. That's a bit he did. Jim Gaffigan is Hot Pockets to me. There's certain things that land on your radar that are like, and to be anything but grateful is asinine in my opinion. And it's the cool thing about you is, and I think maybe me, but the cool thing about you is like, I watched that young lady who's their publicist is a fan of yours. Maybe she didn't share that with you, but she broke down everything about you to those guys.
Oh, she's not their publicist. She was their hair and makeup. So that makes even more sense why she likes your nail salon.
Yes.
She was hair and makeup.
She was like, she was a Raiderette.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, she was. I totally forgot. I go, she's a mom now, but whatever.
Which does that discount the fact that she was a Raiderette?
A Raiderette's like the most gangster thing you can fucking
Exactly, right?
Out of all the things you want to be, a cowgirl's number one, right?
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Is Raiderette number 2?
Yeah.
You don't get a better fan than a Raider fan.
No,
Raiders
absolutely
fans,
not.
Raiders fans?
Absolutely not.
Raiders fans
People
are,
like the Cowgirls more than like the Cowboys. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. They
Depending
do.
on the season that
Exactly.
the Cowboys are having.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Depending on the season,
But the
Cowgirls
Cowgirls
will always be
They're
queens.
evergreen.
They're evergreen.
Yeah, they are.
Don't matter what kind of season you're having.
That's right.
We hate you this season,
Right.
but these girls, those are the queens. Don't talk about them.
Heck yeah. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When your schedule's packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. I've been in therapy for a long time. I will never stop being in therapy because, I don't know, it just kind of keeps my table clear. Where I know how I feel about almost everything. And if I don't know how I feel, I know I'm going to figure it out pretty soon. Therapy is an essential part of life for me. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/wife today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/wife. When I started podcasting, an online store was the furthest thing from my mind. Now I'm selling shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and it's so easy, all because I use Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to, did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Shopify is so user-friendly. That's one of the reasons I really like Shopify. I'm not a techie, but I can go on their site and I can see what's selling well, what's maybe selling more slowly, what our revenue is. It's just such a user-friendly site. It makes opening your online store a breeze. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/wife, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/wife now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/wife, all lowercase.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I almost stopped doing that joke?
No.
Let me tell you. And this is why I lit up when you said San Francisco, because it happened in San Francisco. I was at Cobb's Comedy Club. And this was still early on, maybe within like 5 years of that nail salon doing what it did. And I was, hearing the murmurs on the street. Not everybody has been so lovely and kind as you when it comes to who I am as a comedian.
I can understand that.
And so I hear the murmurs on the street and, oh, she just does that one joke. Like, that's all she has. She's not even this, and that. She just has that one joke. And then I start thinking to myself, like, clearly I know I have more than that joke. I've already done an hour special at this point. I'm already working on a new hour. And I'm like, I'll show them. I don't even need this joke. Watch. And I remember going on stage at Cobb's in San Francisco. I did my set and I didn't do the nail salon joke. And I went later on my Facebook at the time, and I was reading a message from someone, and a girl left me a message, and she was like, hey, we went to your show last night. We had a great time. My mom and I drove in like 4 hours from such and such city, and we were so disappointed that you didn't do the nail salon joke. She was like, that is something that we've bonded over, and it's so special to us. And we really thought for sure you were going to do it, and you didn't do it. And we were just so disappointed. And she wasn't coming at me like trying to be a hater, trying to be like, you suck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, do better. It wasn't like one of those. It was like a heartfelt message. And that hit me so hard. And in this moment, I'm realizing the mistake that I made, and I started listening to the wrong people. I was listening to the people who don't care about me, who don't, if social media was a thing back then, they don't like my post. They don't leave me a comment. They don't share when I'm promoting something. They don't repost it for me to show their fan. They don't support me in any way. They don't buy a ticket to my show. They don't say nice things about me out and about. I started listening to the people who hate me because they want to be me. Instead of listening to the people that I actually perform for, that I actually write for, these people that are like, hey, we love you. We saw your last hour. We're going to come to your next hour. We're going to come to your next hour. These people who care, who watch me on social media, they're like, oh my gosh, we love Rosie. Oh my gosh, the thing that you posted with her in the toilet paper, my daughter did that too. Like those people who actually care about my life, and they feel that we're in this together. They feel like, oh my gosh, we're going through the same kinds of things. My husband does that too. Oh my, those people, that's who I listen to. That's 100%. Who I write for. That's who I perform for. That's who I show up for. When I start that nail salon joke at the end, it doesn't matter that I've done it 43,000 times. When I do it that night, I'm doing it I'm already getting chills on my arms right now. I'm doing it for these people in the room who they bonded with their mom over this. This was the thing that their sorority girls used to quote together, and now they got back together to come to my show. This is the one that, I've been telling my husband about this the whole time. And then I watch husbands watch their wives light up.
That's amazing.
And it's so beautiful because he doesn't care about this joke, but he's watching his wife enamored, just like, this is the thing that she talks about all the time. And that moment, I would never give that up. I would never say like, I'm not going to do that. No way. I would never rob people of this experience that they're having. And I am so grateful that I get to be the one that provides them with this experience. It's unreal.
It's a gift. As much as it's a two-way gift, right? Because you have a gift. It's a gift that you get to share it with the world, and the world receives you as a gift. Yeah. It's just all a gift. It's so beautiful to watch a stand-up be really good at what they do and connect with their audience. Bert has a very special audience that way too, where his people show up with positive energy. They are not there to hate. They are there to have fun. It's the most beautiful thing to watch in Fully Loaded because we have at least 7 other comics, and most of them aren't Bert. Like they don't have the same fans. They'll have some crossover, but not really. And to stand in the wings and watch the audience watch the comics that aren't Bert is so awesome. Where you go, you do anything in the world for them. Yeah. Anything in the world for them, because that positivity is what the whole world should be all the time. Yeah. It should only be that. That should be the only thing that goes in your comments.
We might be on a short list of comics. Someone said to me the other day, You might be the only comic that gets to tell the same joke every show. And I said, actually, there's a couple of us, and you were the only one I could think of. It is a gift and a curse, and I know the feeling you have.
Yeah,
I know it. Everything I've had Burr one time was like, Rogan, you're not telling the machine tonight, are you? And I was like, I don't think so. And then they start yelling it, and you're like, I remember Ari. This is the best one. Ari is a purist of stand-up, a purist. I mean, he fucking believes he will live and die by comedy. That is his Bible. He gave up his God for comedy. And he said, you're not telling the machine tonight. We were in Calgary. And I was like, I don't have to. You know the feeling. You're like, I don't have to. I can just do stand-up. We're doing 25 minutes each. Easy. I won't do it.
Uh-huh.
And I closed the show, and I said, thank you everyone so much. Good night. Ari came back on stage, and they all started chanting the machine. And Ari was like, don't do it. And I was like, okay. And they would not let him speak. And they were chanting the machine. And he was like, hold on, everyone, hey, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And then Ari looked at me and he goes, I guess you got to do it. And I went up on stage. I mean this with love. We're in a business with all our friends.
Right.
But they don't, whatever the fucking curse and the gift is that they don't understand what it's like to have one bit that defines you.
Yeah.
Defines you. And I will say this, without a doubt, I've gotten my nails done with my daughters and my wife. And if I went to see you, I would be hoping in my heart of hearts that you would do the bit because I'd want them to see it because they've never seen it live. Mm-hmm. And when you do it live, it's a little different. It's always a little different. It's always a little, like the machine has turned into a different fucking bit. It's not even the same bit I started with. Mm-hmm. But it's turned into something different. And I think it's such a gift. But I know that feeling. I've only not told the machine twice. I mean, at specials, sometimes I won't tell it. I've had to tell it on specials. Like I do the special and I get done my show. And and then I go, all right, and we don't record it, but I tell the joke at a special.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Columbus, Ohio. It was the first time I was like, I'm going to retire this story. And I got off stage. I didn't tell it. And Dave Stroop came backstage and he was like, hey, we have a problem. And I was like, what? And he goes, I've got a bar full of people livid they didn't see the machine. And I was like, what? And he's like, I think you're going to have to go out and tell it in the bar. And I walked out to the bar and there were about 100 people at the bar. And I stood at the bar and told the machine story at the bar. And the only other time I didn't tell it was when I gave out Tommy's phone number because I was too drunk. But
oh my God.
In Tampa. But it's a fascinating club to be in because only not all of us, and look, if you know the story when Ron White was at the mothership and they were chanting the machine. I'm doing just working on material. And I was like, guys, I'm not going to tell it. I'm in Joe's club. I'm just fucking around and trying to figure out stuff. And they started chanting it, and I saw Ron White upstairs, and I said, I'll tell you what. I'll tell the machine if Ron White tells tater salad, because tater salad is and I'm talking to.
It's epic.
I'm telling you, that's the best bit ever. That's the best story ever. That's the best bit ever. It's so good. People mimic the style of which he told that bit and tell their stories in the same style he told his story. It'll never be as good. That fucking bit. And I said, I'll tell the machine if Ron White tells tater salad. And I look up at Ron White and he goes, fuck it. And he comes downstairs. He wasn't drinking at the time, I don't think. And he came up and he goes, I don't even know how it fucking starts. And the whole audience goes, I was drinking in a bar. And Ron White was like, oh shit. Ron White tells tater salad. The place goes bananas.
Oh my God, I got the goosies again.
I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps. Gives me the mic and I realize I can't follow tater salad with the machine. I had to do like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to break up the energy because I was like, my story's not as good. That's the best fucking story. I couldn't follow the nail song. Can we? I'm just. Can we dive into? I don't know if you've ever done this. I don't know if I'm making you tell stories you've already told. What was the inception of that bit? Like, when did you do it to a friend? Did you get your nails done and you did it to your friend? Like, how did that happen? Because I remember where I was. I remember where our desk was sitting in our old apartment. We were in the 2-story apartment with the girls, and our desk was facing north.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it was against the wall.
Yeah.
And it was facing north.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that and going, what the fuck? And I remember, I think Tommy sent it to me because Christina Pajitsky has been a fan of yours for a very long time.
Love her so much.
She loves you so much. And Tommy sent it to me. And I think Tommy's note was, and I apologize if this sounds crass or whatever. He's like, she's only been stand up for a year. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, none of us. Everyone wanted to go. Viral wasn't even a thing yet.
Right.
What was the inception of it? I'm dying to hear how that worked itself out and where you were in your career when you did it. Like, I'm all that.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, when that video was taken of me at the Ice House in Pasadena, I had been doing stand-up for 4 months.
Oh my God.
I had just started. There's
the old phrase.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's a Chinese curse. It's a Chinese curse. Someone just said this. May all your dreams come true. It's a Chinese curse. Because at 4 months, you would love all the fame, but you do not know how to handle it at 4 months.
No,
it's
I didn't know
wild.
what I was doing.
Keep going. I'm so sorry.
So I grew up in San Jose, big Vietnamese population. My best friend growing up was Vietnamese, Daniel Lay. He would teach me how to say certain things. So I'd go to the nail salon and I would have things to say to my nail tech. And I would try to impress her with all my Vietnamese words that I would know. Everything that I say in the nail salon joke has been said to me by a nail tech at some point. Mm-hmm. And the bit was a lot bigger when I first wrote it, but it starts with everything that has ever been said to me and things that I didn't include. Like I had a lady once ask me if my boobs were real while she was doing my nails. She said, "That the real?" And I didn't know what she was talking about. And I was like, huh? That the real? The boobie. That the real? And I said, oh, my boobs, yes, they're real. She goes, they look nice. You don't have to put on. They look nice. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was including that in my joke, but I was too embarrassed to talk about my boobs on stage. So I didn't do it. I was like, I started taking out things. I had a bunch of stuff in. I was like, no, I don't feel comfortable talking about my boobs. So I'm going to take it out. So anyway, I would do this accent, this character for everyone. And it wasn't like a performance. Hey, everybody, I'm going to do this. It would just be in conversation that I would be talking with people. And then they'd go, oh my gosh, do it for my friend. Come here. Listen to my friend do her nail salon girl, right? And it started as that. And then my brother, he could also do the accent really well too. And then for a while, we would trick people, our friends, or people that we would just like meet where that we spoke Vietnamese.
Oh, how funny.
And they're like, yeah, we speak Vietnamese. And they're like, you do? And they're like, yeah. And they go, talk to each other. And we go, okay. Khối ở cắm tí bà làm McDonald đã mày đếp ở cắm. We're making up words. This is not real Vietnamese. But we're doing that and we throw in a couple English words. So it looked like we're like trying to look for, I don't know how to say it in Vietnamese, whatever. And so we would just make up Vietnamese words. And some would be real because I knew how to count to 100 in Vietnamese and I could say different phrases that my friend taught me. So I would throw in like Happy New Year, chúc mừng năm mới. I would throw in like Mốc hai bé bùm nem xèo tem tiền bay. I would count, like I would throw in like actual Vietnamese words with pretend made up things that sounded like Vietnamese words. And people would be like, oh my God, she speaks Vietnamese. Like, that's crazy. And my brother, we're just like conversing and be like, yeah, so we speak Vietnamese, you know, whatever. And then it started, I cheered for the Oakland Raiders. I was a Raiderette. And then it became a thing that they would want me to actually do the nail salon. And then everybody would stop and listen. So now it's like an audience a little bit. Like I'm not on a microphone, but I'm like in front of a bunch of people doing my nail salon. Then I moved to LA to be an actress. Stand-up comedy was not on my radar. The only stand-up comedy I had been introduced to was BET's Comic View. Yeah. That's the only stand-up comedy I had watched before. And so I'm at this church in LA, and every Tuesday night was their creative arts night, and they would have a dance class, a singing class, an acting class, and I was in the acting class. And we would play improv games, and I was funny in the improv games. And there was a stand-up comedian named Lisa Alvarado. She was like, hey, I'm going to be teaching a stand-up joke writing class. Do you want to come take my joke writing class? And I was like, I don't know, is it free? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I guess. I had no desire to be a comedian at this point. I was just taking a free class on a Tuesday night because it was free. So I was like, sure, I'll take your class. So we get in this class, and she's teaching us everything from basics, like how to do a mic stand, how you loosen it up, and things that you wouldn't know how to do.
Kind of valuable.
Very valuable.
I remember the first thing someone told me was like, hey, you need to move the mic stand out of your way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Those comedy classes are very valuable.
Yes.
Because or don't
leave the stage until the other comic comes back on.
Or don't go, wow, it's really bright up here. I can barely see you guys. Like, there's certain things that anyone that goes on stage goes like, that's your first thing. Get rid of that. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
And someone bring me a drink.
Yeah.
Someone hear that downstairs? Someone bring me a drink.
Charlie, are you there? So I'm in this class, and she's teaching us basics like that. That is very important information. And then she's sending us home with homework to like write a joke about our name, and giving us things like make it personal to you. And everything you write, you want to be personal. The more personal it is to you, then the less hacky it is. And she's teaching us what hacky means, and all these kinds of things, a rule of 3 in comedy, and all these different techniques that she would teach us. And then in that class, I remember telling her, I do this nail salon character. And I think I could write like a nail salon joke. And she was like, nail salon jokes are so hacky. Everybody has a nail salon joke. You're going to want to steer clear of nail salon jokes.
I've never actually heard one except yours.
So I had heard, people do a form of, they went to a nail salon, but not this joke. Like one of those, like, how I parent my kids, how I get my haircut, how I get my nails done. It was not a nail salon joke, but I was like, I can do it. I can do like the voice, and I think I'm just going to do it anyway. Like I'm going to do it anyway. And I wrote the nail salon joke, and at the end of this class, I think it was a couple months long, every Tuesday, we had to perform at a real comedy club. And this was the Queen Mary in Long Beach. They were doing their comedy club.
Yeah.
And it was a bringer show. Everybody had to bring at least 10 people to the show. It was a nice warm room because they all knew we were fresh out of a class. Like, we're not going to be hilarious, you guys.
Right.
And we all wrote this material over the past, 2 months. And the teacher was going to pick everybody's 5 minutes. She went through everybody's material, and she picked your 5-minute set, and do this, and do that. Okay, great. And then she came to me and she was like, just do all your jokes. And I had 12 minutes.
Wow.
So I went out there on my graduation performance, and I did my 12-minute set.
Wow.
And the nail salon was my closer. It was a little different at the time, but that was my closer. And then after that, I started going up around town with her. Like, she would have a spot at whatever bar, and I would just go with her, and she would be like, hey, she does stand up too. Do you have any room on the line? I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do 5 minutes. And it was like just enough time to like do one joke about my name from my joke writing class. Yeah. And then I would just do my nail salon bit. And that was it. And I would do my 5 minutes all around town, because the nail salon was like about 4 or 5 minutes long. Yeah. So I would just do my my opening name joke. And
thank you, Kyle.
Keep going. Just fresh water. Just ice water. Ice water.
Hey, listen, if you launch a vodka, you got to drink it.
You have to. And so I would go around town, and I would do my one name joke, which was at the time, I'm Mexican, but my last name is Johnson. Something like, with a name like that, you're either white or black. Like, that's it. Like, you don't get to be Latina. And then I paint the picture of like, imagine me at the Mexican American Festival. Ladies, señores y señores, bienvenido mi amiga, Anjelah Nicole Johnson. And that was my opening joke.
By the way, I have to say this. I had a similar joke, because back in the day, like, Mexican comedy was so big. And I remember I had to work with, DJ Cooch, Ricky Cruz and Steve Trevino.
Yeah.
And the lineup would go, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Cruz, DJ Cooch, Steve Trevino, and Bert Kreischer. And my name sounded like a hate crime. And I was like, I don't think I fit in. I used to make Steve bring me on stage. I was like, dude, you got to say that I'm okay, that I'm not a bad white guy, because they hate me. They fucking hate me. But keep going. I'm sorry.
You have to vouch for me.
You got to vouch for me. Like they think I'm a fucking hate crime. Yeah. But keep going. I'm sorry.
I would just go around town and I would do that short set. And I still was not trying to be a comedian. It was just something fun that I was doing. Like I was trying to be an actress. I thought I was going to be this dramatic actress. Like that was what I thought. And so I just go around town, do these little spots. And I think back now, like how slap in the face it was at the time for me to be like, oh no, I'm not a comic. I just do this for fun. Like I'm just doing this for fun. Like
you and Dr. Ken.
In front of a bunch of comics, like trying their hardest to like, this is my dream. And I'm like, I'm trying to be an actress, but you know,
I'm just a natural. Just move aside, but whatever. I have 12 minutes. They have 5.
Yeah, exactly. And at this time in my life, this is 2007. I filmed that video in 2006, and it was supposed to be for Verizon wireless cell phones. This is during flip phone era. Mm-hmm. And for $1.99, people could buy a comedy clip on their phone. This is before YouTube, right? Yeah. So they could buy a comedy clip on their phone. And so everybody's going to the Ice House. They're going to pay you $25. You do your 10 minutes, and then that's it. Your clip will be on a Verizon phone somewhere. Okay, great. At this time in my life, this is 2006, like I don't really have much going for me. I don't have an agent, auditions, like it's not going great. Then I film this, I get my $25. I'm like, great, groceries, here we go, Top Ramen, Cheerios, you know, everything you can afford with your $25, a little bit of gas money, perfect. Then time goes on and this new thing called YouTube comes out. And so they're like, well, nobody's going to buy a comedy clip for $1.99 when they could watch it for free on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Let's just take all of those clips that we recorded and upload them to this brand new thing called YouTube. So this is all happening unbeknownst to me. I don't know what's happening. It's just during this era of if somebody sends you an email and there's a video in it, you definitely watched it. Right. This is during that time. Then I start getting phone calls from family members that are, you know, back home in San Jose. And they're like, hey, there's this email going around at work and it's a video of you. And my coworker sent it to me and she didn't even know that we were related. She just sent it to me. Like, what the heck? And I'm like, I know, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. And now it's January 2007 when this video first came out. January to February, there's about 4 million views on this video. And again, this is during the time where like that's super viral.
4 million.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
To put in perspective, 4 million in that era is everyone that's online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So there's 4 million views on this one video in 1 month. And then all of a sudden, this is during MySpace days. So now my MySpace page is blowing up. It's popping off. And people are leaving me messages from all over the world. Hey, when are you coming to perform in Australia? When are you coming to the Philippines? When are you coming to Salt Lake City? When are you coming to Atlanta? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I have 12 minutes of material.
That's crazy.
What are you even talking about? Like, I had no idea what was happening, and people were wanting me to perform at different places. And I remember DJ Cooch was one of the first people to really he took me on the road. That was my first road gig. I went to Yuma, Arizona with him and I opened for him. And that was my first road gig that I did. When people would message me on MySpace to say, hey, how can we book you? I would send it to Cooch and he would handle it for me. Like he would do the emailing and be like, okay, negotiate, you know, that you get paid this or whatever.
Cooch is the best.
He did that for me. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And not for money. He was asking no money for that. That was just like, I'll help you. So this is January 2007. I don't have an agent. I don't have any kind of auditions. I'm on unemployment. I was an extra on Friends, on a bunch of different shows. And I was not an extra at this time, and I was on unemployment. My unemployment checks had run out. So I'm on zero now. There's no income. There's like that $25. That was good stuff. I have my sister sending me money to help me pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
She would send me gift certificates to the grocery store. So I'd go to Ralph's, get me some food, hold me over for a little bit. And I had that was keeping me in LA. And then I had my gut, my spirit, where I felt like God was telling me, I know it doesn't look good, but hold on, I'm not done yet. I really felt that in my spirit and my gut, that God was like, I know, looking around, you have no opportunities. You have nothing going for you. You have no one cheerleading you on, saying like, yeah, keep going. You have none of that other than my sister. My sister was the only one that would be like, don't give up. Here's money. Don't give up. Other than that, it was just my spirit, God, being like, don't give up. I'm not done yet. I'm not done. And I'd be like, okay, well, then I'm going to stay. So this is January 2007. I have nothing to my name. All of a sudden, this video starts blowing up. Now my MySpace is messages from all over the world. And now I'm getting messages from, hey, I'm the assistant to so-and-so executive at CBS. I'm the assistant to so-and-so executive at Fox. All of these network executive assistants are messaging me because they want to meet me, and they don't know how to get a hold of me because I don't have an agent. So they're all messaging me on MySpace. And so now I'm getting meetings to go meet with, and it was during pilot season, I remember, and I get a meeting at the CW, and I remember getting my like drive-in pass and like walking on to this CW. There's no more CW, but going to CW, right? There's no more CW? Or is there CW? What was it at the time?
CW,
it was
WB.
WB.
Yeah.
WB. Okay. So I remember walking to these executives and going into an office thinking like, I'm just going to go meet people. They saw my funny video and they want to meet me. And she was, oh my gosh, we love your video. Here's this script. We're casting this pilot right now. Can you read for this role? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know to say, sure, can you give me some time to read it? And
oh my gosh.
maybe
you just picked it up and just walked in there?
Maybe can I even
work
just
with an acting teacher for a day?
Right?
can I even step outside for a
Guys,
minute?
I can't read.
Right? Crazy.
And I didn't even think to be like, can I step outside and like just breathe for a second? And I remember she was like, do you need to like run to the bathroom or anything? Like, we just want to know if you I don't even know what's called cold reading. Like, I don't know any of this. And I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, I could do that. Okay. Right. And I'm doing like a cold read audition for this network executive at Warner Brothers or wherever I'm at. I'm getting all the names confused. But at this point, I'm just, so many things are happening to the point where I had to go buy a calendar at Staples. Like, this is before like iCal, you know, like I had to go buy a calendar to write my appointments.
Did you use your Thomas guide to get there?
Yes.
Right?
I remember my dad grew up in LA, and I would call my dad when I was on my way to an audition, and I would be lost and be like, Dad, I'm on, whatever street. How do I get here? And he's like, okay, make a left on Wilshire. You want to go down for it. And like, he would give me direction because he grew up in LA.
How funny.
But, okay. So anyway, my MySpace page starts blowing up and everybody wants to meet me. I start getting meetings with all these different production companies. And then I start getting meetings with agents. And then TJ Mark Walter, who I love with all my heart. He's at Gersh.
He's the best.
He had his own agency at the time. And Dave Rath became my manager. So within these like first 4 months of the year, in Q1.
Two great guys.
Oh my God.
Two great guys.
Yeah.
Two great guys.
Amazing.
Because the thing is that sucks about this business is you do work with great people and you do have to move on and leave them and go different places. And you never stop loving those people.
No.
They give you keep this part in. There is a part of everyone. I texted with Frosty last night, Spirit the Dead. We were talking about baseball. I love Matt Frost. He's one of my favorite guys in the world. And I had to leave him as my agent, so I wanted to do different things. And you have these great relationships with these people, but at a certain time you have to move on. and it does suck.
Yeah.
And people do take it personal, but it bums me out. But to sit here and celebrate them, and we know we've vetted their names out. They know who they are.
Yeah.
They know who they are, but no one else does.
Yeah.
But they are great people. Everyone you've mentioned is like legit ground roots, the greatest people in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
The greatest people.
Yeah.
It's almost like the friends you were friends with in elementary school where you were so close and you sleep over Friday night, Saturday night, every night.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to middle school and you go, oh, hold on. You're like into anime and I'm into like fashion. And we're just not, it's just not meeting anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of sad and heartbreaking, but I think it happens in more places than just Hollywood.
Yeah.
It happens where you just kind of not outgrow people, but grow in different places.
Yeah.
And I have a question. I'm going to pivot entirely. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you have a baby,
Uh-huh.
Manny. And I was talking about, earlier how you were a team for so long.
Yeah.
And now you've got a third.
Yeah.
What's the positive shift in your relationship from that? And what's the negative, or maybe not negative, but the hard or the more difficult shift?
I'll start with the more difficult. That's right at the tip of my right here. It's ready to come out. It's also what I'm talking about in my new hour is my postpartum days. The first 6 months, hard. I was so angry. Oh, and I will tell you this, LeeAnn, you actually really helped me when I came on your podcast and I was pregnant at the time and you were telling me about your postpartum anger and rage.
Even when she destroyed a toilet? Yeah,
Yes.
keep going.
Yes. I qualified as postpartum rage.
Yes. I think something's wrong with me. I think, yeah. So I remember having that conversation with you and I had only heard about postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was going through my postpartum season, I was able to attribute things to it and not think I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going back to that conversation and when I would be so angry with Manny for no reason, like so angry and so like, I didn't want to look at him. I didn't want to touch him. I wouldn't smile at him. And I didn't even realize I was doing that until he called it out. And he was like, hey, like, I know you're going through a lot right now, but sometimes I feel like you're angry with me. And like, is there something I can do? Like, because you won't even smile at me. Like when I walk in the room, you look the other way. And it really was that, like he would walk in and I didn't want to even look at him. Like you would think we got in a big fight because I was like, I don't want to look at him. I'm not going to smile. Yeah, fine. Until he like called it out and addressed it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I am doing that. Why? I don't have a reason. I have no reason to act the way that I'm acting other than my hormones are going berserk in my body and I don't know how to handle it. So that was probably the negative part and the hardest shift was coming back to, I'm a very affectionate person and I would not touch him. I had to consciously put my hand on, while we're driving, put my hand on Manny and I would have to tell myself, put your hand on his hand. Put your hand there. I'm like, okay. Like I was so conscious of something I used to do so just innately, so just naturally, just that. And I was like, do it now. And I had to really shift and work on it and change until like about the 6-month mark, I felt a shift. And I remember I was like scratching his head in the car while we were driving. And I noticed myself, I'm like, oh, I didn't have to tell myself to do it. I just did it.
Wow.
And it took about 6 months. It was really hard.
It took LeeAnn 19 years.
It actually kind of did. I think I went on hormone replacement therapy.
Recently or right after?
About almost 2 years ago. And I was very affectionate before I had kids. And after I had kids, it just didn't occur to me. It wasn't, and he would complain to me like, I want you to, sneak up behind me and give me a hug. And I go, it is so not in my wheelhouse.
She would say, I'm not that person. And I was like, yeah, you are.
But I was.
Yeah.
You are.
But I kept going, if it's so efforted, then maybe that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And then I got on hormone replacement therapy, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, let's hold hands.
Yeah.
Let me scratch your back.
We used to.
Will you rub my back?
We used to hold hands all the time in the car. In the car, all the time in the car.
All the time.
Once we had kids, and I'm cool with it. It's funny. I've said, there's a couple things I've said to her where I go, can you believe we've never had a rough time in our relationship? She was like, honey, we've had a few rough times. And they were all you. And I was like, what? She's like, remember you were addicted to Oxycontin? And I was like, oh, that was a rough time.
That was rough.
Yeah,
remember PTSD?
Remember
that was
PTSD?
tough too.
Oh, yeah, that was rough. But like, I've said this to LeeAnn, so I'm not sharing anything out of school, but like, I didn't have a problem with our non-affection and our sex life for whatever 18 years. I didn't have a problem with it. It just was what it was. I remember one time saying to LeeAnn, I'm oversharing because it's a podcast and I think it's interesting too. But I remember saying one time to her, hey, do you want me to tie you up for sex? And she goes, no. And she goes, why would you say that? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I feel like we do the same thing. She goes, I like what I like. Okay, let's just stop. Let's leave it there. And I was like, okay. And I was cool with that. The meat and potatoes of sex with her, I was cool with because I liked it. And I love her.
I think my brain was saying, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Just be happy you get anything. Because I'm exhausted. I have 2 kids. You're on the road all the time. I take care of everything. Money, house, everybody's sick. I'm doing all of it.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Don't take anything from me. You get what you get and you don't get it. I think that's that was part of it was the logistics of life for me. And I think part of it was the hormones. That even like from the minute I had kids, my hormones never really righted the boat. They got better, but they didn't really right the boat until I went on hormone replacement therapy. And then I started recognizing myself again. And that was 18 years.
Wow.
And I had shifts in my body other than just like not being affectionate. I had other shifts that I'd ask my doctor about, and they'd be like, it's just aging and whatever.
Kissing was a big deal.
Like you didn't want to kiss?
No,
we kissed, but it was,
kissed,
you know.
We, for 18 years, I'm going to say 18 years. It's probably inaccurate a little bit. Our kissing was never connected the way it was when we dated. When we dated, we would kiss and your stomach would drop. And I'm oversharing way too much.
Yes,
but
and
like,
I think you're sharing in a way that makes it seem like we didn't have sex.
No, we
ever.
did. We had a great relationship.
Fine,
We're still
everything was fine.
But all
you
of a
just
sudden,
didn't tie up.
I didn't need to be tied up. We didn't need to go like that. We just need.
But when she got on hormone replacement therapy.
Now you get tied up.
No, well, hang on.
I've not yet been tied up. No. Have not.
But I remember now when we kiss, every time we kiss, there is I'm connecting with that person very intimately. As a matter of fact, we kissed today and she goes, just one. So I always do 4 kisses.
Aww.
And her lips are softer and her kiss is more welcoming. And man, I'm a hard sell on like any of the stuff about like hormones and postpartum and all that stuff. And now when I hear it as a man, as a grown man, I go, oh, that's all very fucking real.
It was very real.
Very fucking real for a woman to go through. And for me to not recognize it or not appreciate it or not be empathetic to it, I feel horrible that I just was like, why can't we get what I want? As opposed to, hey, what are you going through? How do we get you to where you get what you want? That sounds hokey and cheesy, but I see a difference in this woman.
Well, the thing about postpartum is I think that in generations past, no one talked about it.
Right.
Ever. And then as they started talking about it, it was about depression. And depression means something pretty specific.
Right.
As opposed to a mood swing or anger and rage or hopelessness or, just fill in the blanks of all these things that postpartum, I think they should call it a postpartum hormonal shift or swing or something. It's not depression because it's not. Anger to me doesn't sound like depression.
No.
You talk about having intrusive thoughts. I used to think, what if I just picked her up and slammed her on the bed? And then I go, I can't believe that I just thought that.
Yeah.
Like I love my child. I would never do that.
Yeah.
What would she look like if I threw her against the wall? Like that thought would come in my head in a flash.
Yep.
And then you're like, am I like a psycho killer?
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, it's your fucking hormones.
It's wild. And I remember when I would have those thoughts that they would like pop in like real quick, like, what if I just threw her right now on the floor?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would get so sad that I thought that. Mm-hmm. So then you went from this crazy thought in your head, and now you're like, oh no. And they're like, oh my God, why did I think that? Like, how do I? And then another thought comes in. You're like, nah, And it's like this war going on in your mind when you know you are not ever going to do any of those things. And then it became like, I would hold her so tight. And I'm like walking through and I'm like, nope, not happening. But I knew I would never do anything. Mm-hmm. But it was almost, and then I would start, when those thoughts would come in, I would like say the opposite, like to her, like, mommy's always going to protect you. I will never let anything.
Not today.
Mommy's not going to take your head, put it in the toilet and flush it until you can't breathe anymore.
Not on mommy's watch.
That's fucking hysterical, by the way. That's really funny. That's really fucking funny. Intrusive thought. The first person I ever met with intrusive thought was Patrice O'Neill.
Really?
I never knew. I had intrusive thoughts.
Had he just recently had a baby?
No. Patrice O'Neill had a great intrusive thought joke. He's like, he had discovered it, and he said, I have this thing called intrusive thought. And we were living together in Scotland for a month, and I didn't realize I had it as well. And I didn't know what it was. I just shut it up in my head. I think a lot of people probably have it.
Sure.
Patrice is like, I don't know, you ever like, this is Patrice's joke. I'm sure you can find it somewhere online. He says, someone ever goes, hey man, I got a baby. You want to hold it? And he's like, no. And they're like, why don't you want to hold the baby? He's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll throw it on the ground. And they're like, what? And he's like, I don't know. I didn't think that. And they're like, hold the baby. And now he's like, now my brain's going, bitch, I don't even want his baby. I'm going to spike this like a fucking football. and it was like, it's a freeing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to hear you guys, I wish I had never jumped in here, but because I love hearing this. But to hear you talk about this, the coolest thing in the world is to share your broken. The only thing I can connect it to with dudes is when you're at a certain age and you share that you jerk off with your friends. That you go like, I masturbate.
You share with your friends, or that you jerk off with your friends?
You just, like, they just know you don't go through like detail, or do you go through detail?
My buddy, I'll just tell you the story. Senior year, my buddy Scott O'Brien, no longer Scott O'Brien, but he's a big actor, and you can find him. Just everyone Google him and find him.
Oh my God.
We were sitting on the beach, me and Obi. We were sitting on the beach, and he said, hey man, I want to talk to you about something, but I don't want to like, I just want to share it. Like, there's a thing that I think we all do that we don't talk about. And I was like jerking off. I thought if you jerked off, you were gay. I thought that's what it meant.
Aww.
I came to terms with my homosexuality.
Oh my God.
Because I couldn't stop.
Because of the frequency of fondling that was happening at your house in your own bedroom?
Touching myself like a fucking priest. I was like all over the fucking place. And Obi told me that he masturbated. And I shared that I masturbated.
Did you say, wait, you're gay too?
I was like, wait, are we about to kiss? Are we kissing?
I love you too.
It was the biggest weight off my shoulders. And literally 2 weeks later, I go to college and every dude's talking about jerking off. Everyone's like, oh, we all jerk off. And I was like, if I just waited 2 weeks.
I just waited 2 weeks.
But sharing your secrets is so important. Especially with what you guys are going through.
Well, it's not really a secret, for one. And for two, it's not a broken part. Because you said we share our broken parts. I think that's true. That's good to share your broken parts. But postpartum, in my opinion, has been poorly messaged from the beginning of time. Because how are you supposed to know what it feels like to have a baby? You can't possibly go through what a woman's body goes through in those 10 months of just being pregnant, much less the 6, 9, 12
they say
months
2
after.
years.
Yes. It's
2 years is what it takes a woman to get hormonally back close as possible to where you were.
Did you find yourself attractive when you were pregnant?
Yes. I loved being pregnant.
Oh, LeeAnn was the hottest.
I loved being pregnant. I felt beautiful. I felt radiant. And they talk about like the pregnant glow. Like, they'd be like, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. Like, it's just the pregnant glow. I got that compliment all the time from people, and I felt beautiful. And let me tell you, coming postpartum, I've never felt worse about myself.
Right?
Not just my body, like, oh, my body's not the same, but like my face, my everything. I'm like, so the battle in my mind, if it's not intrusive thoughts, it's me being my toughest critic. And it's me trying to tell myself, like, stop being mean to yourself. Chill out, relax. Like, girl.
Give yourself a break because you just went through. I mean, what the female body has to do to have a baby is insane. And so, of course,
Wild.
Isn't it? It's just so
wild.
crazy.
It's
so,
wild.
of course, it's going to take a minute for everything to go back or to not even to go back, because I think that's another lie that we tell ourselves. Nothing goes back like it was before. It's just like where you are in your career now. Nothing will be like that. Everything's going to be new because you're in a whole new place. You're a whole new Anjelah. And I don't know, I feel like there should be some kind of some sit down with your partner to say, here's what's happening. And it's because I feel like when you're in a relationship, it's hard because, at least for me, I had so many thoughts and feelings I didn't understand going on that it was hard for me to say to Bert, hey, I don't even know what's happening, but these are my feelings, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put that on him. And I was exhausted. I didn't want to dig into it.
Right.
And talk about all this shit.
And
I
I
just
didn't
wanted
wanna
to get
listen.
from A to B, and he didn't want to listen.
I honestly didn't want to listen.
But to be,
I wanted the thing we had when we met.
yes.
I wanted that. I wanted
So
that.
if an outside party were to sit down with Manny and say, here's what's happening in her body that's just biology. Here's what that might look like. You know, it might look like breaking the toilet lid on the toilet. It might look like intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
It might look like cold, distant, I don't like you, I'm not touching you anymore. So then that person could go, okay, I see what's happening here. And this is not really to do with you and me. It's to do with this hormonal shift that's happening. So,
Yo, shout out to you for
just
like,
keeping
now
it
that
all
I just
inside.
I know how to no, but for real, like as you're saying this, I'm identifying more with Manny. Oddly, through this whole conversation, I'm going like, oh, I know what he's going through right now. But we have a great relationship. We've always had a great relationship, but we did have at times distant sex where it was you want to bang one out.
yeah.
And it was like, it's so funny is that I don't know if I had gone through all those things you're talking about, if I would still be here. Does that make sense?
What do you
Like
mean?
if I had
Say it
gone
again?
through all these emotional, hormonal changes.
Oh, if
and
it was
I
you.
felt them, and I just was like, yo, I need my space.
Mhm.
I might have been like, this isn't the right thing.
Mhm.
I mean, there's like like as you're saying that, I go, it's a very deep thing to go through, and to not be able to share with your partner what you're going through, and for them not to know it, and to be on the other side of the fence, not knowing what's on the other side of the fence, and sitting there going like why isn't she holding my hand and rubbing my hair, or or all the stuff she ever did. I went through that, but if I had done it to you, I might have gotten more distant. I might have been like, fuck this, I got to take care of me. I'm going through something. Like if I had a hormonal shift in me, I know how selfish I am. I would have been like, so it's kind of a testament to, I'm saying it to you, that you stuck with me in all those times where I was like, yo, can I get a blowjob? And you were like, no. Like I'm tired as fuck. I've been dealing with kids all day, and like can't imagine if you had been. Is that making any sense?
Yes, it does
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
It's like a testament to women that you guys.
Because
deal
you
with
would have
all
been like, yeah, we don't kiss anymore. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going to do that ever again.
That's who I am now.
Yeah.
I just watch fantasy football on Sundays,
Yeah.
and I text with my boys.
Take me or leave me.
Yeah.
Well, your daughter said to you yesterday, you're a see it, realize it guy. So maybe you just didn't see it till now, right? You see something differently, and then you think about things differently. It happens your whole life.
Wait till you go through menopause. That's going to be fun.
It's not.
Oh my gosh.
It's not fun.
I have a loved one in my family just starting perimenopause right now. And
Sexiest
it's
women in the world. Sexiest women in the
hard.
world.
And I'm like, I'm watching her knowing I'm right behind her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with any of this, but we have to.
Yeah, we have to. We have no choice. 50% of the population goes through it, and they spend about a week of study in med school on women's health.
That's what blows
1
my
week.
mind. Women's health.
Women's health. 1
The
week.
fact that there's not enough research about perimenopause, menopause, about our
Postpartum.
hormones, postpartum, so dumb.
So
The
dumb.
fact that we can live our lives with endometriosis, not even knowing it. And they're like, there's no way to tell if you have endometriosis. You just have to, once you're in surgery, we'll see it and then we cut it out, right? So I had a surgery, I had a myomectomy surgery to get fibroids out. They cut me here in my belly button. They went in with a robot because I had fibroids in my uterus where I couldn't get pregnant if I didn't get these removed. So they had to go in and take these fibroids out. When they went in, they saw that I had endometriosis everywhere,
Oh my God.
all over my
that
body.
causes so much problems in your body.
They had to scrape it out. My surgery was supposed to be 3 to 4 hours. It was about 8 hours long
Wow.
of surgery. It was so bad. The doctor told me, I'm going to say it and I'll decide in 4 seconds if I want to keep it in or not. But
Okay.
but I'll share it with you guys for sure. They had to surgically remove my anus from my vagina.
What? Because the endometriosis had connected them? Oh my fucking God.
They had to go in and scrape it all out and then sew things back together.
Please keep that in. That is the most interesting thing I've ever
Well, the
heard in
only
a
reason I
podcast in my
would
entire
say-
life. And I've been listening to podcasts
You-
for fucking
you-
17 years. That is the most interesting thing I've ever heard in my entire life. In my entire fucking life. In my entire fucking
Well,
life.
what's interesting to you about it probably is you probably don't know what endometriosis is
I do not.
or how much havoc it
All I
wreaks
heard
in a
was
woman's
anus
body.
and vagina, and I was like,
And you were
where do
like,
they put
tell me
them?
more. Tell me more. Is that right?
you had me hooked at anus and vagina.
Connected? Oh
is-
my God.
I don't know why that's not the title of your next special. That's the most fascinating thing I've ever fucking heard about. What is endometriosis?
Endometriosis, I'm going
It's
to.
like a spider web in your body and it's growing from the insides, growing out over your organs, over your whole body. So just imagine spider webs everywhere in there and they're just like on your body. So it keeps your body from functioning the way it's really supposed to be functioning and in its full potential, in its full strength. Like, it makes women's periods worse because it's like the inside lining growing on the outside, I believe.
I think that's right. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me another drink, please.
I believe.
That is endometriosis. Can
it's
dudes get it?
intense.
I don't think so. I
don't
think it's
think
from
so.
the uterus. I think it's the lining of the uterus growing outside onto your organs and everything.
Sweet.
It's an often painful condition in which tissue that is similar to the inner lining of the uterus grows outside the uterus. It
Yeah.
often affects the ovaries, fallopian tubes, and the tissue lining of the pelvis.
Can we please keep that in? Can I please ask you a million questions right now? So wait, so you're in surgery for 8 hours.
Yeah.
You get done. What's the recovery look like?
Well, this was I get sent home right away. Like I'm there. I could have stayed, but I was like, no, I want to go home. Take me home. And so I went home, and it was about 2 weeks of pain meds and pain. But it was also 2 weeks before my book release,
Oh my God.
and I had my book release party 2 weeks later.
Oh my God.
And I started my tour a week after that. It was all in the same month.
Wow.
And I'm just an alcoholic. That's so fucking wild.
I remember being at my book release party. It was at the Improv. And I remember the moment my pain meds wore off. And I did the thing. Adrenaline was flowing. I had my pain meds. We were good. I did my panel. My friend Terry Weinberg, who's an amazing producer and a lovely friend, she moderated for me and asked me questions about my book. It was so lovely. And then I took pictures with people. Then we had food. Portos sponsored it. It was great. We had food and drinks. And I'm in the middle of a conversation with someone. And then she just goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "I think that's my cue. I gotta go home." Like the meds wore off, the adrenaline stopped and I was like stuck
Mm.
and in pain. And I was like, I think I gotta go home.
Wow.
And then I had to leave my party.
Oh my God.
Well, and then I went on tour. So,
It's so
you know
wild
what?
it's so wild that
That's crazy, Anjelah.
casually people. I'm obviously I'm a dude, but our problems aren't like that. Like when we have a family, we just all I'm thinking is it's a comic. We have a family. The biggest hiccup is you just leave your family, you go on the road. When you have a family, and I'm thinking about Whitney right now too, because Whitney just had a kid and she's going through some stuff, whatever, just having a kid, is that everything shows up on your goddamn plate.
Yeah, everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone thinks that way. I mean, it really makes a testament to like Chelsea when she goes, I'm not going to have kids. You go, good call.
Yeah.
It's like fucking such a, not just the 18 years, that's what people think, but the change of your body, all the things that you leverage in your body
Yeah.
are insane to me. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that. And I'm telling you, on the outside looking in, probably one of the most interesting things I've ever heard in a podcast. I swear to God.
Is
I'm
the,
being serious.
the endometriosis how much it took over the inside of her
I
body?
think I've heard of that word, but I've never heard what it does to
It's very
someone.
painful. My
Mhm.
mom had it. I remember her growing up. She had very, very, very difficult periods.
Yeah.
Really bad menstrual cycles.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't remember if she had surgery for it, but I think that it went away. So I'm assuming she did.
Mm.
Celebrate more than 100 years of the world's best steak experience with 50% off site-wide during their anniversary sale. Order today at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code WIFE at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply. Famously forked tender filet mignon, handcrafted and extra aged to maximize tenderness. You'll enjoy big savings on premium pork and chicken, scrumptious sides, and of course, decadent desserts. 5 generations of family-owned expertise means uncompromising quality you can trust. Every steak and every entree is flash frozen, vacuum sealed, and ready to prepare whenever you are. All backed by their unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Omaha Steaks equals the world's best beef. Naturally aged for the ultimate in tenderness, juiciness, and flavor. I know I talk about this all the time. It's my favorite gift to give to family members back home. A box of Omaha Steaks shows up and it just makes your day, your week, your month, depending on how much you packed in that box. I love sending my dad the twice baked potatoes. He loves the chocolate cream pie. He loves the cheesecake assortment. But more than anything, he loves the steak. Order today at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code WIFE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code WIFE at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply.
Can I ask you a wild question? And
Yeah.
it's a good wife for your party and a cocktail, please. So are you ready for
heard
the
you.
child? Are you ready for the child? Are you ready for the child that is part you? Because you
Yeah.
were a little bit of a wild child.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that child?
Oh man, I've told my mom so many times. I hope she's not as bad as I was for
Do
you.
you know, LeeAnn? Do you know
Thank you.
much of Anjelah's story as a wild child?
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
Just a Raiderette.
Go ahead, LeeAnn.
Just a Raiderette.
LeeAnn. Like I said, a cocktail would be nice. This is the part of Anjelah. I have a connection with Anjelah on so many levels. One of the things I love about Anjelah is,
Thank you, Kyle.
and this isn't sexy, but it is her faith. I've always found it sexy.
Why isn't that sexy?
Well, it can in Hollywood.
It's
no one
totally
gives a
sexy.
fuck. No one
It's
gives a fuck.
fucking hot as
I know
hell.
there's a right answer for
Yeah, but
faith and religion
But her
aren't
faith and her
necessarily
honesty,
the
So
same
her
sexy.
honesty
thing.
about her faith, or about like
Yeah.
when she's
I love it.
questioning her faith, she'll share it with you.
Mhm.
It's been. I just
Yeah.
think it's so cool. I
Thank
think it's
you.
so cool. I love when it's the Red Clay Strays. You know the Red Clay Strays?
No.
Such a great band. And talking to the lead singer Brandon, and he talks about his faith, and I love that. I love that. I love when people share that. It's such a vulnerable place. It's like when people say they like anime.
Mhm.
You know?
Yes, conviction. It's a conviction of spirit,
Yeah.
really. And having faith is so important. And people don't. I don't like it when people don't give weight to someone who has faith.
Yeah.
Not to judge what that faith is. Buddhism, Catholicism, whatever it is. I think it's the most powerful person are the people who declare that they have some faith.
But the most fascinating part of Anjelah is her straying from it. Like when she was young and wild, and you don't know any of this. So Anjelah, I've set the scene. Go ahead and tell her. Go ahead and tell her what kind of child you were.
Were you a devil worshiper?
No.
Were you into voodoo?
No. This
is so wild. It's so unpredictable. You're like, who the fuck am I talking to?
Wow. Why is it wild and unpredictable?
I feel like you're really propping it up for a machine type story. No. I did drugs when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, I was 12.
Yeah. That's young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I know. I started drinking when I was 13.
Yeah.
So I didn't do hard drugs ever, but I hear you. And I didn't have any faith at that age. 0.
So my parents got divorced when I was 8. And then they both started going to Christian churches separately, different ones. One was a little more religious and the other one was a little more, fun. And during this time, I am going through puberty. I'm discovering myself. I want to be a chola. I want that tough lifestyle. One of my best friends, like the best friend that I had at the time, her mom was a drug addict and her boyfriend was a drug dealer. And so anytime we would hang out, we basically had whatever we wanted. So I tried all my drugs with her starting very young at 12. And
what kind of drugs are you talking about?
So
this is the coolest part about you.
I hate you so much.
I love this. I love this because it's so not who we know you to be.
No,
but it's what
not.
gives you texture, in my opinion.
But no, more than that, I think what it does, people's stories resonate with other people so much to go, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
And I am okay now. And if Anjelah's okay now, then I can really, really be okay now. I think it's really important to tell your, the stuff you've persevered out of.
So if anybody out there did crank growing up, you're going to be okay.
What is crank?
Crank is like a street name for a different kind of meth.
Okay.
Basically, but it's not.
12.
It's
the fucking wildest shit.
So we would be doing lines of crank in the bathroom in 6th grade and at my friend's house. And, there is times where, again, she came from this lifestyle where it was just normal to have around. And I wanted that life so bad. So anytime I would go hang out with them, we had whatever we wanted. And I remember there was one night we had her aunt rented a hotel room just to have a bender.
To party.
Yeah. And it was just her and her boyfriend in one room. And then the other room was just me and my friend. And we're like 12 and just doing all the drugs we want. And I remember this little like hotel motel was like next to a empty field. And in the middle of the night, we're just walking through the field. Just some 12-year-old girls high on drugs, just living our lives. And I remember the next day thinking, is my body overdosing? Because all of a sudden my hands started like closing up on me and my arms started closing up and I started like losing control of my limbs.
Oh my God.
And my breathing started changing. And I remember going in my room the next day. We got home and laying down in my room on my bed and my friend trying to like help me hide this from my mom because I was scared to get in trouble. So I was like, oh, she just started her period. She's just having cramps. But really I was like losing control of my body.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't know what's happening to me right now. And eventually I like slept it off and it went away. But that's such a dangerous place to be. And that's how my uncle passed away from an accidental overdose like that. Same kind of situation. My dad, they were younger. They were in high school and they had drugs on them, and so they wouldn't get in trouble. My dad's younger brother swallowed the drugs.
Oh my God.
And then he started not feeling well.
Yeah.
So they had him go sleep it off in the back garage. And so he went to go sleep it off, and he never woke up.
Oh my God.
Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, I hope to God my daughter is nothing like what I was growing up. But I do hope that she has a sense of adventure and wonder. And I hope that I could be the parent. I'm not going to be the parent that's like, oh, I'm a cool parent. Come do drugs with me. Like, I'm not going to be that parent. But I do plan to be very open with her and about her body, about sex, about alcohol, drugs. I plan to have an open conversation with her. But definitely not be the like, yeah, just if you're going to do it, come do it with me. Like, not that, but just an open dialogue to where it's not, I don't want her to feel like she's going to get in trouble. I want her to feel like she'll be able to talk to me about things. I didn't have that growing up. And I don't know even how to do that, to be honest, if I'm being fully honest. I don't know how to be the parent that I hope to be.
Yes, you do.
But I'm going to wing it. I'm going to hope it
already
comes
know.
out.
Yeah, I was about to say,
You already know.
as I was listening to you say that, I was like, LeeAnn, start speaking.
You already know how to be that parent because you want to be that parent. Your parents probably just didn't have that kind of awareness of parenting, which is okay. That's okay. You know,
Everybody
it's not
did
their
their
fault.
best.
Everybody did their best. They were clearly good people who went their separate ways. They're good Christian people that just probably just didn't. It was just above their pay grade.
Yeah.
But it's not above yours.
Yeah.
So, and if you're already seeing what you want to be, all you have to do is create that.
Yeah.
There are books to read. There are TED Talks to listen to.
Right.
There's therapy to take if you want. There's so many things that you can lean on to make different choices or to craft parenting the way you feel it should be crafted.
LeeAnn's not a party parent. Like, never allowed alcohol in our house with our kids.
Alcohol's in our house, but we are this. We don't.
Oh no, I meant with the girls.
Let kids drink at our house. Like, we're not the house where you can come party.
Yeah,
that's not my house. I believe that it is. Well, I don't believe it is illegal to drink until you're 21 years old. So the messaging of sure, come on over. We don't abide by the law. I'm not going to do. At the same time, we have always said to our kids, we're not stupid. We know you're going to party. I just can't say, yeah, that's okay. You're 21. I mean, you're 16. Sure, break the law. I'm never going to say that. I'm going to say be safe. I'm going to say if you get drunk and you need a ride, you will never be in trouble. You will never be in trouble if I catch you drinking. No pills, no powder, ever. And this is the reason why. Weed is a natural herb. Not my favorite. Can't say you can do it. But,
when Georgia got caught smoking weed, LeeAnn was much more amendable than I was. I lost my shit.
Well, I'm very much like kids will be. Another mom told me that Georgia and her daughter and a couple other girls had been smoking weed, and I went, interesting.
Bill Bert told me before. I remember being
Bill Bert told you that Georgia was smoking weed
before.
He caught Georgia smoking weed?
He knew she was smoking weed, and he told me. And I was like, nah, man, you don't know my daughter.
How did he know? I mean, he suspected it.
Georgia was going on bike rides during the pandemic.
Oh.
Her and her friends are going bike rides. And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, where are the girls? And I was like, oh, they're on a bike ride. He goes, smoking a little weed? And I was like, no.
Not my kid.
He goes, how old is she? I was like, 15.
15.
He goes, yeah, a lot of 15-year-olds like riding bikes. I was like, what? And he goes, what were you doing at 15? I was like, I don't know, smoking weed. And he was like, buddy, they're smoking weed. And I was like, no, not my daughter. And he started laughing. And I was in the pool that day, and George came home from a bike ride. And I said, you know what I love is that my buddies think you're smoking weed and you're not. You're a good kid. it hurt her heart so much. It hurt her heart. And then I went to do a show or something. And I think I was on set doing a TV show.
Go big.
And I came home and LeeAnn had caught her. And LeeAnn and it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I just know, look, when you run the ponies the way I run ponies, a lot of dudes die or go into rehab or they have a problem with drugs and alcohol. All my friends I've grown up with. And I didn't want that for Georgia. Even though that's the lifestyle I live, I didn't want that for Georgia. And it fucked me up so bad. And LeeAnn had a really great perspective about it. And LeeAnn was not I just smoked weed twice in her life.
Yeah, I'm not a big weed smoker. I drank a lot when I was 13, 14, 15, all the way till I was 21.
Her perspective was so...
How did you handle it?
How did I handle it? What do you mean?
What was your perspective? No, with Georgia.
With Georgia?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant how to handle drinking heavily.
No.
Like this. First of all, I parented by asking questions I already knew the answers to so that she could undeniably hang herself on the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, what happened here? And she'd tell me, and where'd you go there? And she'd tell me it was all lies. So once I caught her, I set the trap for her and she got in it. I was like, well, here's what I know for sure. Now you got to tell me everything. So she did.
It's a good kid, by the way. I got to say that.
Good kid. She's a great kid.
In hindsight, as an adult now, I look at that child and she has a relationship with LeeAnn that I don't have with her. And she shared everything with LeeAnn, was totally honest.
Yep.
And then they kept it from me.
Well, I made an executive decision that turned out to be wrong. Uh-oh. So I had gotten, because he'd traveled since she was 3 days old, there was a lot of parenting that I would do without him.
Right.
Because it's too inefficient to go, well, wait till 2 days from now when your dad's at a cell phone. I couldn't do that. So I'd gotten in that pattern of just parenting, executing, moving on. Parent, execute, move on. With this one, I needed to tell him, but he was shooting a show. He was out of town. I didn't want it to disrupt what he was doing. Sure. I knew he would react at an 11. I was like, he's going to lose his actual fucking mind. So I'm just going to put a pin on it. I'm going to wait until a good time to talk to him about it. I'm just going to hold on to it. It's been handled. I've already disciplined. I've already reeled her in. I've already straightened it all out. There's nothing to do. The practical piece of it has been handled. But we need to be on the same page at some point. And that point just didn't come before Georgia cracked a joke about being busted smoking weed, and I laughed, and it was in front of him. And so he was like, what the fuck's going on? So I should have told him before that happened.
You'd think I'd be a cooler dad.
Never found the time. I was really wrongfully trying to be helpful. I wasn't trying to be deceptive or secretive. I really wasn't trying to protect her. No, it's you and me against dad.
Right.
That wasn't my intention.
Right.
But it ended up feeling like that anyway. Yeah. So my intention and my impact were two totally different things. My intention was to let him get through his job in a peaceful state of mind, and then talk about it when we had some space to talk about it. And the space never showed up. Yeah. So the impact was he felt lied to, deceived, left out, that I was on her team. And it just created such a mess when my intention really was to take care of everybody. I was just trying to take care of him.
I can't wait till we do this podcast in 15 years and you're dealing with all this stuff.
But I will tell you this, something his mother told me that has been really helpful in those moments of parenting with the weed and the stuff and the more serious teenage stuff. My mother-in-law said to me, who they are as toddlers is who they will be as teenagers. So whoever your kid is, watch them. So those kids test as a toddler in the tantruming. They're testing you. So where they test you as a toddler is they'll test you as a teenager. Wow. It may look different. Georgia lied to me as a toddler.
Ooh, I remember that.
Tried on other people's behavior. Or she was a chameleon.
We thought she had Tourette's syndrome?
Because she was trying on someone else's behavior.
She came home with this.
And you're like,
We're like,
what the fuck is
And
that?
it's like someone's got Tourette's in her class.
It wasn't Tourette's. She had a nervous tick. And so she started doing the nervous tick. And you're like, that's not you. But you
She came
can't
home with a
say.
Mexican accent one time.
She spoke Southern accent every time we went. She was a bit of a chameleon.
Hey, y'all.
And
I'm
she's
gonna speak
4.
Southern.
Right? She's 4. And so she doesn't really know what she's doing. The lying, she knew what she was doing. Fast forward, teenager, lied to me, called her in lies all the time. And she was who she hung out with. If she went with this group, she was this kind of kid. If she went with this group, she was this kind of kid. Isla, oh my God, as a toddler, I can't say anything that's not what she wants to hear, and I can find no currency for parenting. There's no toy I could take away. There's no timeout that could last for years. I could not do anything to have any currency with Anjelah Kreischer. Same human as a teenager.
Same.
I have no...
Anjelah, it's so fucking hysterical.
It's not hysterical.
It's
It's really
awesome.
frustrating.
It is so awesome to watch.
What do you
awful.
mean?
Like, I can't say, hey, you can't do this unless you do that. Like, consequence, here's your behavior, here's a consequence. She'll go, okay, and just do it anyway.
She'll go like this. Cool.
And then just do it anyway, which is who she was as a toddler. I would sit her in timeout. I would take away her toys. I would deny her favorite whatever. And she'd go, okay, wait it out.
I
Just
offered her
wait it out.
$100,000 for a joke one time.
No.
And she goes, I had a joke about her in one of my specials, and it was really good. It's really funny. And she said, don't put it in. And I went, well, what if I give you I'll give you 10 grand. It's a joke. She goes, no. I said, 20 grand. She goes, no. So I'll give you $100,000 so I can put this joke in my special. And she looked at me and said, buddy, I get all your money when you die.
That's Isla.
That's Isla.
So,
and by the way, that's also LeeAnn.
but the toddler in her would not sit in a high chair.
Nope.
I could not strap her in a high chair. She would start.
Fuck off. I mean, I'm talking
Wow.
it was like, you ever
Had
seen
to
that
feed her-
music video by Metallica where the guy goes, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Like, she was a fucking lunatic.
She would not stay in a corral. Like, I had a corral for them. So I was like, I'm going to do the dishes. But she would not stay in the corral. Scream until I got her out.
You'd say to Isla, I cut a chicken apart and I took the neck and I threw it in the trash can. I said, Isla, do not touch what I just put in the garbage.
Don't touch the garbage.
Don't touch garbage. And I turn around and I put the chicken in the pan. And as I turn back around, she has the neck of the chicken in her mouth and she's deep throating it. And I go, baby. And she was like, is this bad? That kid.
And today I'll say, hey, how about you check your email for college? And you go, well, now that you've said it, I'm not going to. That's exactly what. And I'm like, I'm just trying to help you be a better you. I'm just
It is so fun. It is so fun.
But that is the note. The takeaway is
That's interesting.
whoever she is when she's 3, 4, 5 years old, that's what you're going to deal with as a teenager.
Shoot. Well, so far, she'll try to get the dog's food, and I'll be like, no, that's Bonzo's. And then she'll go, no.
That's Isla.
I have a video of that.
We have a video of that.
I have a video of that. I sold tickets, by the way, to Cincinnati. I swear to God, it's back old school Birdie Boy promos. Is LeeAnn saw Isla going to the cat's food, and she said, Isla, no.
No.
And then Isla went down on all fours and started eating.
And went like this.
And started eating the cat food on all fours.
Like, watch this. I'm going, no. And she goes, oh, yeah. That's her entire life.
You want that kid, though.
Oh, I love her. I love her
that
exactly
kid.
as she is.
And you want George. They're both
Yes.
amazing kids. But that kid is going to be, your kid's going to be so beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. Oh, my God.
I mean,
Between
what
the
the
two.
genes between the two of you guys.
Thank you.
I mean,
She's special, man. She's
beautiful.
What's her name?
Thank you.
What's her
Her
name?
name's Rosie. Rosalie Harlow Reyes.
She's
We call her
beautiful.
Rosie.
I follow.
Thank
I follow.
you.
I watch her grow. She's adorable. You're a
She's so
good mama.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Such a good. Manny seems like a really good dad.
He
Man's
is
a stud.
He really is.
He is very handsome.
Well, no, I meant as a dude, he's a stud.
You mean like he's a total package?
No, he's just a stud. I know too much about you to share, but I just fucking solid dude across the board stud. I love that guy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a fucking ridiculous head of hair.
Oh,
I
may have
know.
to take this phone call
Why?
real quick because it's the vet. Is that okay?
Yeah.
talk about
Me and her can talk.
Yeah, you talk for a minute. I'm gonna go in here and call the vet.
Yeah. What's it like to have a drip in here? And it's like us, we can hang, but then she comes in, she ruins everything. I hate her podcast because it's so much better than my podcast.
You're so stupid.
She did a podcast with my sister that I swear to God, I've not listened to a podcast beginning to end. And it was such a great podcast. And I was like, how do you know how to ask questions? I always tell people, if you want to have a great podcast, do it with LeeAnn. I don't care enough. I really honestly just want to talk about me. I swear to God. I mean, I like ultimately, I think that's why we got into this business, is that like we're in love with ourselves.
Yeah.
And she was dying to talk to everyone about them.
You know what's interesting is I think I was the same way until I remember the day I had a conversation with my cousin, and I was in my 20s. I was probably like 22, maybe 23. I don't know. And she called me and she was asking like, what's going on? What are you up to? And I'm like filling her in on my life. And then I go, okay, gotta go, talk to you later. And then she goes, hey, how come every time we talk, I always ask about you and your life, but you never ask about me and my life? And I had never thought of it. I just thought, oh, she's calling because she wants to be filled in on what's happening. So let me fill her in. I didn't think about how to be a good friend, how to be a good participant in conversations. And ever since that day, it shifted everything for me. And now I feel like I do care more about what is going on with the person. It's so funny because I can see the difference in communication with me and my husband, where someone will say like, yeah, man, I went through this. And I would say, what happened after that? Oh my gosh, like, did you do this? How did that affect your relationship after? And I want to know more. And then my husband goes, that reminds me of the time when I did this. And now we're no longer talking about this person. We're talking about the time my husband did this.
And that is what we call the Bertcast. I'll tell you a crazier one.
What?
I'll do what your husband does right now to you. I'll do it right. We used to call it Charlie Toppin'. Rogan's going through like the worst shit in his life, right? Like he's dealing with real shit. At the time, I don't know, it was back when I was on the internet and like I was reading stuff and someone had said some nasty stuff about me or posted a video or something. And Rogan called me and I talked to him for fucking 15 minutes about me at the very end. I just casually said, so how you been? And he goes, well, it's been rough. And I went, oh, that's right. You're going through real drama. The media is attacking you entirely. And I went, oh, buddy, I am so sorry. I forgot. Oh, fuck. I forget you're a human sometimes. And I was like, so how are you doing, Joe? Like after me, he goes, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm microdosing mushrooms. I'll talk to you later. And he just hung up. I was like, fuck. I love that. I love people that I do love people that are interested in other people. I just feel like, tell me if I'm off on this, so that I'm really interesting. So like,
don't you want to hear more about me?
Yeah. Like first time LeeAnn and I went on a date with a couple, it was a great night. We went, first time I had ever had Indian food and I fucking killed it. I killed it. I mean, I was funny as fuck. We got drunk, we laughed, we had a great time. We got in the car, I was like, that was awesome. And LeeAnn said, yeah, for you. And I said, what? She goes, you didn't let them talk. And I said, well, yeah, they're not interesting. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, she's out of her fucking mind and he is her husband. Like, she runs a relationship. She's crazy as fuck. I was like, what was I going to let them talk? Like, trust me, I saved us from a great night. From a shit night, I saved it. She goes, yeah, but next time when we go to dinner with them, let them talk. And we went to dinner the next night. And I looked at LeeAnn and I was like, so tell me about you. And the woman told me about her dad within a second at this same Indian restaurant, started sobbing, crying, made a scene. They got into a fight and we left. And I looked at LeeAnn in the car and I was like, don't you wish I told the machine story? Fucking. It's interesting the people we marry.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
Continue.
I think Manny has a lot of LeeAnn in him. You know, there's a Manny's got really loving eyes. I'm talking about your husband as if I know him for real. But like he's like when I talk to you, he looks at me and then looks at you. Like then LeeAnn does that. It's interesting. So I'm not that guy. Like when I'm more about me. I think it's our want to be on stage, but we married like such great fucking supportive people.
Oh yeah. Manny said his whole thing when he was like dating and looking for the one is he wanted to be a cheerleader. He never wanted like arm candy while he was on stage.
But Manny's also very creative.
Oh yeah. He was performing, touring. That's when we met. I was touring and he was touring, and he didn't want a girlfriend that was just going to be arm candy to come with him on tour to all his concerts and whatever. He didn't want that. He wanted somebody who he could cheer them on and like lift them up. He's like, I'm good at encouraging and being a cheerleader, and that's what I want in my partner, somebody that I can like help in their dreams. And that's exactly what he's been for us.
That's the coolest thing is like, I would say this because she's not in the room, but I think I've helped her achieve dreams of hers without her. Maybe she knows it, maybe she doesn't know it, but like this podcast, she runs this company. She puts on a festival. She produced my special. She produced Shane Torres' special. I think I'm like a low-key fan. Like I low-key support people, but I'm not good in a social setting. Like is everything okay?
She has to go to like an animal hospital.
Oh no.
She doesn't really know entirely what's going on. She has a broken sternum and pelvis.
Oh baby.
But that's not everything that's happening. So her blood work came back really funky with like stomach stuff, like one kidney's really swollen. So she wants her to go and stay on fluids overnight and get an ultrasound on her stomach, on the soft tissue in her stomach, to make sure nothing's like really bad wrong. So,
endometriosis.
She might have it.
I heard they take your asshole and your vagina
and just separate it. They're just going to go right until they pull it apart.
I would love to have my asshole examined.
No, I don't think so. You did. You had a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's funny bit.
Oh, yeah? But I do have to meet Georgia at the vet, so we'll have to.
What, are we wrapping this up?
Soon.
Okay, soon. I get a colonoscopy, and the doctor DMs me, or on the app, whatever the Cedar Sinai is. He's like, we found 3 polyps. I knew that, but he was like, we checked them out. They're non-cancerous. You don't have to come back for 7 years. And so I DM him back, cool. What should I wear? And then he writes back, I can't say that I'll be your doctor, so I don't know what to tell you to wear. No joke. He doesn't get it at all. So then I write back, I go, dude, I don't let a lot of guys inside of me. We should make a commitment. Never replied.
Do you blame
Did he know who you were, though? Did he know you're Bert Kreischer?
He said one of the wildest things I've ever heard going into a surgery or
colonoscopy.
I was really nervous. I kept asking for Xanax to calm me down. He's like, it's just a colonoscopy. And I said, I'm terrified right now. And he looked at me. I was on the bed and they were rolling me in the room. He goes, buddy, one day they're going to be rolling you into the room and it won't be good. So it's not that today. So enjoy today. And it kind of gave me solace. I was like, yeah, one day they're going to be rolling me in a hospital room and I'll be dying. I was like, fuck yeah, it's not today. I was like, God damn. And that guy did not get comedy at all.
No.
Clearly.
Well, also, you can't hear tone in email. Like,
yeah, well.
You went for a really brave, bold joke in an email. It wasn't even a phone consultation. Like that, you could have at least heard tone and he could go, okay, buddy.
Can I do comedy talk real quick?
Okay.
So are you touring right now?
Yes.
All right.
I'm writing my hour right now. My big tour starts next year.
Okay, so right now you're just jumping in and doing clubs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And casinos.
Oh, I fucking want that money.
And you have a new podcast, right?
I have a new podcast.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Is it called Fungula?
It's called Fungula.
Every other week?
Every other Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday.
The premise of my podcast is gratitude. I think it would be great. You guys got to come on to my podcast.
I am covered in gratitude. If you give me vitamin D and gratitude, my day is straight.
Listen, so the premise of my podcast is I've used gratitude in my mental health journey to raise my vibration from like this lower vibrating feeling, anxiety, anger, frustration, all of my intrusive thoughts, whatever, down here. And then I use gratitude to raise it up here. And then I start operating from this place, right? And so that's what I've been doing for years and years with my mental health. And so with my podcast, I invite guests on and we do one matitude. And that's the thing that's annoying you lately, the thing that's pissing you off, the thing that really just got under your skin. It's your matitude.
What's my matitude today?
What's your matitude today? Tell me your matitude.
It's me.
You're your matitude.
I'm in my way really bad right now.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm in my way. Yeah.
Your thoughts?
No, it's just me and my right hand.
Jerking off too much?
Yeah, way too much jerking off.
Putting in zins and drinking. I'm having a little bit of a party, but I am definitely in my way. I'm in my way. I can feel it. I know I got to change it, and I'm going to do that. So I'm mad at me. I'm really mad at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. LeeAnn, do you have a matitude?
Matitude today?
Anything this week, this month, this year, today. Something
mad about.
Something that comes in your mind that you're like, oh, that really frustrates me. Oh, that bothers me. Why do people do this?
I'm mad that my sweet cat won't just move into our house. I keep trying to get her to move into our house, and now we're off in a ditch.
You're getting a lot of the Israeli-Palestine issue right here.
What?
And you're just hearing one side of it. She stole this cat, okay?
I did not steal this cat. The cat showed up.
This cat showed up at our house.
She's beautiful.
And LeeAnn created a home for this cat. And this cat was like, this is better than my real home. I'm saying here, LeeAnn did reach out to the original owners. Like, just, your cat's at our house all the time. They're like, we don't really give a fuck about that cat. So LeeAnn's like, cool. It's now our cat. And this cat is... Cheryl the girl is the fucking best. But trust me when I say that cat, we didn't buy it. We just inherited it. And now this cat is like a part of our fucking family. And I tried to introduce it to our house.
I have. I keep trying to talk her into my house. She just won't do it. She's scared of the dogs.
Oh.
And so now she's sick. She's got to come in the house.
Yeah.
It's just no choice.
Whoa, I'm sorry. This is a conversation we have not on a podcast. I'm definitely allergic to cats.
Not deathly. That's not true. He lived with 2 cats. We've had
cats.
We've had 4 cats in our marriage.
What are you doing?
He's full of shit. That's my matitude.
So that's a really good matitude. These are really great matitudes. And then, so what we do, we get our matitude out, we let it go, and then we move into gratitude.
Ooh, nice.
And we talk about 5 things that we're grateful for, but we don't have to do 5 right now. We could just do 1.
Let's do 1.
Yeah. And it could be something you're grateful for today. It could be something over life. It could be somebody who gave you a break in your career that you're just so grateful for. It could be you're grateful for your wife and how she runs this company. You could be, you know what I mean?
It's not that. Keep going. What are you grateful for?
You can think of something. I'm grateful for so many things. I'm grateful for our family. I think the family that the 4 of us is really special.
Yeah.
And fulfilling for all 4 of us. And I think that's really great. I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
I'm grateful. This is, I don't know if you're allowed to be grateful this. I'm grateful for my humility.
Okay.
Because if I hadn't been humble and appreciated success and allowed myself to do what I do the way I do it, shirtless, and being the person I am, I wouldn't have the life I have. Yeah. And I'm so blessed to have the life I have.
Yeah.
And to the point where I sometimes don't know if the people around me can appreciate just how sweet it is. Meaning, we met John Mayer last night we sat with him for 30 minutes in his green room before the show. I am the person that sits in the show and I keep hitting the eyelid the whole time. I go, we just met that dude. We met that dude. I love that about me. I'm very grateful that my humility, when that sounds like a weird place to place humility, is that I am so in love with the fact that I met the guy on stage, that I think that's so cool, that I don't ever want to lose that. I don't ever want to be the guy that goes like, yeah, I met John Mayer, whatever, no big deal. Like, I love that, and I would never have gotten there if I thought I was something.
Mm-hmm.
I hear what you're saying.
You know?
I totally hear what you're saying. The juxtaposition, the sentence, I'm so grateful for my humility and how humble I am. That is so funny to me. I love it, but I get what you're saying.
I'm so grateful for me.
Yeah, I'm
you know what I'm
so grateful for me and how humble
wait, I did
am.
say that.
Yes, I'm so grateful for me.
and how
But
humble
hey,
I am.
I am so grateful that I'm the person that can say that sentence and not know that he said that sentence. How fucking cool am I?
How deep is your humility that you can have that and still have
I'm so
humility?
grateful that I got to know me.
You know,
I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. I would never listen to me. I appreciate that you guys do.
I love it though. I totally get what you're saying. Like that at the end of the day, you're an
I'm Ron
amazing
Burgundy. I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Stay classy, San Diego.
I'm a fucking idiot. I can't believe I just. You know what's so funny is she always shits on my things. So I'm watching her going like this, and in my corner of my periphery,
So
I saw
thank
you.
you.
I saw you go. And I went, all right, this isn't going well. What did I say wrong?
Let me double down on it
What did
and
I say
again
wrong?
say how awesome I am, that I am awesome. I am so awesome that I have realized that I am awesome. Isn't it awesome that I know I'm awesome? I'm
I am
so
fucking
awesome.
And you know,
awesome.
not enough people recognize it. I wish people did.
But I'm humble
I'm
enough to
glad
recognize
I
that not
recognize
everyone
it,
realizes
right?
how awesome I am.
It is awesome that I know my awesomeness, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
You got to, okay, my new gratitude is that I'm 100% me and I can show
There
you
you
what a
go.
fucking idiot I am.
There you go. And I
It's-
love that about
it's
you.
fun being me.
I love that about you.
When do I get to do the podcast?
I can't wait. Fungela, every other Tuesday,
Oh.
come raise your vibration with gratitude with me. I love it.
I
Do you
love
do
that
any
too.
workout videos still?
I do.
I
I
love
haven't been
that. I
working
love
out a
that.
lot lately, but I do.
I love those workout videos you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like my own accountability that I put out there on social media. And I was talking about how, like, when I was first postpartum, I thought that I was going to be one of those like snapback girls that, like, as soon as you have a baby, then you just like snap back right away, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Hey, look at me, everybody! I'm back!"
Right.
Like, I thought that was going to be me, and then turns out no, it was not me for a very long time. And this one girl left me a message to one of my workout videos, and she was like, "Thank you so much for being vulnerable and showing us your real body."
Oh my God.
But I got what she was saying, but it was still such a funny, like, "You're welcome," you
Yeah.
know? But she was like, I wasn't trying to show that I'm super hot and fit, and look at me, guys, I snapped back right away. I still had my postpartum belly, and it was like on month 4 or 5, and I was still like flabby, and I couldn't do the moves I used to do, and it was like, here's my belly showing. And before I used to show my abs, and then now I'm like, well, here's my belly. And she's like, "Thank you for showing us that." And I'm like, "You're welcome."
But yeah, thank you. Because it
You're
is
welcome. I'm
hard.
very humble. You are welcome.
Your
I'm
humility.
so humble.
Your humility is really, I'm so grateful. So grateful for your humility, Anjelah.
Can I tell you what I'm grateful for?
What?
I'm grateful that you let me sit on this podcast.
It was really fun.
Anjelah Johnson, I fucking love you. I
fun.
think you're so fucking awesome.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry I bum rushed this podcast.
Oh, I
I
love
love
it.
you guys.
But
It was so much.
there was absolutely zero part of me that was not going to be in this room.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I had a sneaky suspicion. I was like, he's going to come right back up here. I know. So I was trying to get to what I wanted to talk to you about before he got here, but I didn't quite make it. I got some of it.
We'll do another
So-
one.
yeah, we can do another one.
When are you still in the place? I feel weird telling people where people live.
No, I'm in the valley. now.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
back?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm in Nashville,
Okay,
but when
yeah.
I'm here, I'm in the
Are
valley.
you still at the same place?
Yeah. Last time I was here, yeah.
Fucking
So I'm
love
here.
that place.
Okay, then maybe nope, not that place.
That's where you're
Because
planting vegetables and stuff.
oh no, I'm not there
I
anymore.
fucking
Oh, I love that house too.
house.
But
And I love that you. But I love that house. I love that house.
yeah, I loved it too. But then we decided we're going to move to Nashville, so we sold it, and then we downsized and we moved we're deeper into the valley, and we're here. You know, this year it's been like the summer. We've been here for
Really,
like the summer.
we're buying a house in Nashville.
Come where? Are you going to Franklin?
I have no idea.
Franklin's far.
She's going
We're not- we have
she's
no
going
idea.
next week to look at property.
No, I'm
Are
not
you?
going next week,
No?
but I am going soon.
Wait, you're not going next week?
That's
No, I can't do
exciting.
We have too much going on.
That's super fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Her skin looks better in Nashville.
It does. I look so much better.
So
in
good.
that.
That's exciting. Is that going to be just like a, we go every now and then to our
Her
Nashville
family's
house?
going to come out and we're going to start making meth, I think.
No.
Love that.
No.
if
It's
you
in my family system too, honey.
listen, if you need a dealer, I know a guy.
I had an owner operator manufacturer in my family too of meth. Yeah. So I hear you.
Wow.
I never did it.
No,
but
we went to Nashville for a weekend to do the Beer Olympics, or for a day.
for a day. Yeah.
And I've never seen her connect more with a city very instantly.
It's
going
awesome.
like, and she had been there to do Wife of the Party live at Zany's and just kind of loved it. Very gracious. Theo came out to support her. I thought that was cool as shit.
Wait, I do remember when you came out because I
asked you to and you were out of town.
and I wasn't there.
Yep.
I do remember that. I think I was flying out that day,
you were not,
or it was
you were traveling.
Yeah,
or something.
darn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were like, well, he travels so much. All his touring is really East Coast, and we own our own bus, and to bring it all the way back to California to then go all the way back out East Coast.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense. And we were like, well, both our parents, his is in Florida, mine's in Georgia. It's a lot easier to get there. It's a 4-hour drive to my dad's house from Nashville. So maybe just we're not leaving here, but maybe go there and have, some kind of small place where we can park the bus.
A home base for the bus. Yeah.
Something like Ruby Ridge where we can have some just.
What?
Nothing.
No.
Ruby Ridge. It was a white supremacist colony.
Oh, stupid.
No, I know, right? Yeah, we'll be doing that. In all our humility, we're going to.
Yeah.
That's what I love about me.
Can I use your bus when you're not using it?
You would love my bus.
Oh my God.
You would love my bus. You would love my bus. My bus. The problem is I'd have to clean it for you. Unless you're into zins and weed.
No, back when if you caught me in my 12, 13-year-old days, probably.
You'd be rolling. Woo, right?
How do we end this podcast, LeeAnn?
By saying thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thanks
I know
for having
we had a lot of rescheduling, so thanks
Yeah.
for being patient because I think some of it came
Same.
from me.
Some was you, some was
Appreciate it.
me. We both, but I'm glad
Yes.
we got together. Thank
Me
you so
too.
much.
I still have a long list downstairs on my desk, so please come back sometime.
I
so we can go through
definitely
a list.
will.
Anything else you want to
will.
talk about or
I mean,
promote or whatever?
just my Fungula podcast it's my new baby that I've been working on, and it's so fun and I love
I'd
it.
love to be on
And I would love to have you on it.
Clearly,
I would
I'm a
love
great
to have
guest.
you on it.
You're such a great guest.
I'm so humble.
You are.
So humble.
Just spreading the love.
It'd be
Well,
amazing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll
Thank-
see you soon.
See you in Nashville.
In Nashville.
Nashville.